This is I do.
In the marriage ceremony of death.
Yes.
Mazel tov. Yeah, that squeak, that Grace squeak at the end of it, that's in there, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember what the direction was, but it probably was something along the lines of make weird whistle noises with your mouth. And this is
actually a live feed of what Mariah was singing at the New Year's thing.
Oh.
Don't want a lot for Christmas.
No. I had just gotten back from taking myself on this trip to the mountains of France to go to this weirdo voice, like experimental extended voice place.
Really?
Yeah. And I was really confident in just like making the sound. I'm sure that that's where this was coming from. And I really was leaning into like, how ugly can we be? But like ugly with passion.
Well, it's
ugly
sonically.
is a judgment that I'm putting on it as, I wouldn't call it ugly. I would call it a less ordered and controlled and more like, where do you want to go, voice? Oh, you want to go way over there? Well, let's see where that is.
Can I ask you, Grace, like, did singer come first or did like sound creatively or whatever, like when you were a kid? Did you?
Yeah. No, I didn't think of myself as a singer. I thought of myself as a very serious actor. Very serious. Give me the Greeks. Mm-hmm. I want to be Antigone. Mm-hmm. I want you to watch me cry. That's what I want.
I want spit to fly out of my mouth on stage under the light.
And you better take me seriously. Yeah. But then I wanted to study the theater, but if you wanted to study the theater, you had to do the musical theater because that's all there was. But I didn't sound like those other people, and I was like, that's fine, I don't want to. And then we had this master class, and there was this jazz singer who came in, and they were like, Grace, you can go last. We have time for you. And then I went anyway, and that woman was like, why don't you come study with me? So my first like voice lessons were with this jazz singer in LA, and those lessons were like, don't do it the same twice. Mm-hmm. Like, come in knowing these songs. You can sing what's on the page once, and then you better do it different. We're going to do it a bunch of times. So it was just like, you better learn how to improvise and figure that out. And then when I came to NYU, when I moved to New York, I continued studying with her mother, who's also a jazz singer. And she wouldn't let me sing a song until I could first speak the words and have her basically make her cry with Misty.
It's a tall order.
It is, but then it's like I understood like, oh, that's what storytelling is. I can't sing this song until I know what these words are about and until I have like an understanding of what it is. Mm-hmm. So no, I didn't start writing until after I graduated college, and that was really like, I was in a big pond, and now I'm in the ocean. I guess I'll make plankton for myself to eat.
No, I was just curious because, like, obviously you have like the monster technique, but I was just curious, like, if
that comes from a place of curiosity, though, because I didn't study voice as most people traditionally do who are singers, and I like to go to those people because I'm like, oh wait, breathe where? Like that's still weirdly new to me. But the things that are most interesting are those kinds of things. I mean, that stuff in France, like people go there who are performers, but also there was this woman Grazia from Italy who was like a chemical engineer, and she was just like, I just want to be able to communicate with people in a more confident way. And so this voice work is about tapping into a kind of expressing yourself and also individuality, but also like humanity and body and impulses. And I'm interested in the intersection of the mechanism, but also emotions, but also psychology, and also storytelling and communication. That's more interesting to me than make it sound pretty.
Than like belt. Like, oh my God, skrelting a high C. Although you like can do that. Just that thing of like so much of artistically figuring yourself out is like getting the demons off your shoulder, like whatever rude classmate or professor put something in your. So it's like if storytelling's the goal, then like it doesn't matter if it sounds like, whatever cool belty thing that just trying to see the larger goal of we're trying to tell a story here. So it doesn't matter like if I, in guitar player land, it's like, oh, I don't have the like YouTube bro chops or something, but it's like, it just doesn't matter or for some people it does. And that's what they're showing up for. And that's cool too. But like, so I vibe with that.
When you came to New York and went into theatrical training, did you find that your prior vocal approach, like you were describing, like never do it the same way twice. Did those things feel aligned, or were they contrary to one another?
100% not. No, not in theater school at all. The voice classes there in particular were very difficult. I remember the first year, they were like, just sing the song, don't act it. And that was
sounds
very
like the opposite.
That
of
was
what
very
is good.
difficult for me to understand, because I was like, how can I? These have words and there's a story attached, and I'm not like trying to act it. I know how to sing the song when I know what the song is. So it didn't make any sense to me. It felt like sing from here up. And also, I mean, in theater, like, you have to do it the same way all the time. Bueno. And that can be difficult when you want to play. And so anyway, in theater, I find that the trick is to like find out what like the major structure is, and then how can you play within that structure. But that's for theater. I mean, outside of it, I got to play as much as I want, but I can't play as much as Reggie Watts. Reggie Watts makes it up on the spot. I'm too scared of that. I got to practice, and then find out how it breathes.
But that approach that you're describing, that is also in many ways a jazz approach, right? Know it inside out.
Totally.
And so that you can play with it.
Right.
You know? I would even say, I mean, that approach can be applied to many other forms of music as well. If you say you're playing a pop tune, but you're going to be playing it live every night, if you still want to be making music with it and connecting with audiences, then yeah, know the parts inside out and then let it take you somewhere.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, that's what most impressed me about seeing Steely Dan live, where they're, you know, such a studio band, but John Harrington, when he plays with them, knows all the original solos note for note, and he captures the intent of those solos, and yet he plays something different every night.
Yeah, that's cool.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So, you know, I think the way you wrote this bridge on the looper very much set a blueprint for how we treated the rest of it. When you play this live, right at the start of the bridge,
Yeah.
do you hit slow down or reverse? What's
Slow
happening there?
down. I hit an octave button, which
An octave button.
So with the way my looper works, it not only takes it down an octave, it takes the tempo at half speed.
So now our main loop becomes...
Yes, it does.
It's when my sister is telling me that I'm being foolish. Like, yeah, I'm Dillon. No, it does good harmonic content. I think if it was featured, it would, the formant quality of it would sound silly, but it
Yeah, but I think that really, it informs how everything else winds up being, right? Here's what we have with the drums there. We have a kind of like, some of the drums are reversed anyway. Slamming against one another. Then Matsu plays these cymbal scrapes.
Yeah.
It's all creepy. And then I think that goes into a forward cymbal roll. There's where that bridge percussion loop comes from. We wanted to still have momentum. Sub kick. And so with that being the backbone of the texture, that's what you wrote all this crazy string stuff on top of.
Yes. And also Four on the Floor and the original loop being gone are both new ideas to the bridge. And that bridge loop you just played is the only thing with sort of the DNA of the syncopation of the other stuff. Everything else is kind of in its own. I love how those reverse things flam and create that sort of swung.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of, what's the Beatles tune that starts with that? Baby You're a Rich Man, maybe?
Oh. Yeah, there's like some reversed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's also videotape has from In Rainbows. Wow, guy in a sweater talking about Radiohead. Yeah.
And there's that main Mellotron loop that we use as the intro. On top of that, we have this kind of like melodic bass stuff. kind of like weirdly cinematic.
Yeah, well, because the bass line is like doom, 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 doom. Something ominous is happening, and also there's a hopefulness to it, that the change in the chord progression. I just noticed that bass line. Play the whole mix because I'm curious if it comes through, because it's so like subsonic. Yeah, you could hear it both ways. You could hear it as an actual new harmonic moment, but because the song is really locked into that, these are the four, and they're not even chords, but whatever. This is the vocal loop that dictates a sort of implied chord progression. You could also just hear it as like a sonic event. And yeah, I agree. It's sort of that sense of like something intense is about to happen.
Yeah.
You know.
And what are you singing about here, Grace? Lyrically, what's happening?
I'm saying this is inevitable. I'm saying we've had this date from the beginning. We've been being coy up until now. This really is the moment of the last breath. This is the tunnel vision right before it closes. This is I do.
In the marriage ceremony of death.
Yes.
All right.
Mazel tov.
Crossing a threshold. Yeah.
Yeah, musically it definitely does that.
Some other vocal effects in here. Took your chorus vocals.
Oh, I didn't know there were lyrics attached to those sounds.
Yeah.
Oh! Funny.
What was the croak originally before you...
Well, I have some printed stuff. Yeah, that's probably like a
Tony.
digital vari-speed thing. And then you can see that I just have different regions of it faded together.
Yeah.
Reversed, whatever.
Yeah, you did that in that fugue state thing. Yeah.
Fugue state.
I don't know, print it, whatever. Okay, now print it. Now mess with the printed thing.
Totally.
How did I do this? I don't know.
Totally.
I wasn't here.